As the 2024 presidential gaslight tour continues, we've got some highlights from last night's Biden show at his campaign HQ in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Marijuana Moments Kyle Yeager reported that President Joe Biden delivered a speech yesterday where he made a brief remarks in front of supporters holding signs reading, "We're on board," that included different reasons why they back his reelection bid. Now, judging that this is at his Milwaukee campaign HQ, obviously this was probably a scripted thing that went down. But this Kabuki theater is just getting out of control. I'll tell y'all what. So, according to a White House poll report, around 4:20 local time, the president recognized one person with a sign that said he's on board because he agrees that no one should be jailed for using or possessing marijuana. Joe Biden replied, "I'm taking care of that." Now, I'm super skeptic about the facts surrounding this whole story because I've been looking all morning for the actual live video posted on IG, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and I couldn't find it at all. If anybody has a video this whole thing going down yesterday, please send it out. Um, Maybe you had better luck, but I did find the official transcript from New York Times Reed Epstein for his travel pool report outlining the full account of what went down. Here's what it says. Travel report number 6, campaign HQ stop. POTUS emerged at his Wisconsin campaign headquarters at 4:17 p.m. Upon entering the room, POTUS made a face similar to the one he made at Marjorie Taylor Greene at the State of the Union last week. The room had 8 tables at which people sat, along with a few dozen others who stood. There were signs around with campaign post State of the Union slogan, "We're on board," attached to the walls. At the tables, Biden supporters have written on their own signs reasons as to why they're on board with POTUS. He was introduced by Jelaya Jefferson, coordinated campaign deputy organizing director for Milwaukee, and he began his remarks at exactly 4:19 p.m. He told the assembled supporters that his campaign will require knocking on doors and making contact with people. He approached a boy who appeared to be about 10 years old and said, "This is going to be the next president one of these days." He asked the young man to remember him when he is president. He thanked the crowd for supporting him when he ran against Donald Trump in the last campaign. And a lot of you helped me in 2020 to make sure he is a loser, and we're going to make sure we do it again," he said. POTUS saw one man who was wearing a Milwaukee Brewers hat and holding a sign that said he's on board with the Biden campaign because no one should be jailed for using or possessing marijuana. He stopped for a second and he said, "I'm taking care of that." It's melodrama. Fucking terrible. I need to see this video, man. At 4:26 p.m., the pool was ushered out of the campaign headquarters while POTUS remained inside. "We are holding in the vans, awaiting the next movement. It is beginning to rain in Milwaukee. The pool can hear but not see people shouting something. They're too far away to be understood, but you see smoke coming up outside." We all know the statement he made was half cap. Pardons are not expungements, period. But the tweet that the Biden campaign made last week, his campaign sent out echoing his words that became his most popular tweet ever. And it seems that going forward, Biden just might be making this a campaign pillar. So, as Kyle Yeager pointed out, the fact that Biden singled out the supporter with marijuana seems that it is the latest example of how the administration is recognizing the popularity of cannabis reform ahead of the November elections. And Vice President Kamala Harris is set to meet with cannabis pardon recipients at the White House today to discuss their experiences under the president's clemency proclamations. Now, that's the shit I want to see. That Fat Joe interview, I don't, whatever. But I want to see what these guys are talking about. They actually got pardoned. Did they get released from jail? I don't know. Let's see if Joe Biden's actually got something to this. Either way, what y'all think? Is it really happening? Do we finally have a pro-cannabis candidate on our hands with Joe Biden? And will Jason Beck stick to his word that he will be supporting anybody on either side of the aisle who's willing to move cannabis reform forward, even if it's Sleepy Joe? I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. Let's talk about it.
First of all, we're not talking about descheduling cannabis. He's talking about moving it to 3, so that's not progress. That's actually steps backwards, Rico. That's backpedaling. You should be an expert in that.
What if it is? What if it is not? What if it is not? What if he actually
show me one
I'm
lick?
saying, what if
show me one lick of proof.
If he said he wants to deschedule it, are you going to support President Biden?
I would support him in that 100%.
So, all right. So y'all
in that effort, I didn't say I would vote for him. I didn't say I would vote for him, but I said that I would support him in that 100% if he was moving to deschedule. There's a big difference. You know what I mean?
Beck is on board. Whatever that campaign slogan is, I'm on board.
Exactly. This is just like straight gaslighting, this whole thing. You're saying you can't find a video. So we don't even know if this actually happened. This could be just like total fake news.
You know, it could be.
It could be. I mean, the reason why I say this is because the administration did the same thing with that kid in where was it? I think it was in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, that committed suicide. They tried saying that they were bullied or whatnot, and this and that, when they were actually the aggressor in the fight previously, prior to them going and committing suicide on the following day. And so, I
don't know what you're talking about, but
Biden was trying to gaslight the world, saying certain things about this one individual, how it was such a travesty and whatnot, and this and that, when trying to paint this person as the victim when this person was the aggressor, and then they later killed themselves, and he was trying to blame it on, it's just more gaslighting.
When it comes to cannabis reform, though, I mean, I just want to see you saying that you're on board with Joe Biden.
if Joe Biden was going to deschedule cannabis and is out there campaigning to deschedule cannabis, I could get behind that.
What if he outright legalizes it, and then we have
there's no such thing as outright legalization. That's a fairy tale. That's this mis language that people common use. There's no such thing as just blanket legalization.
I don't know, it's just sounding a lot like Joe Biden's pro-cannabis all of a sudden. I don't know. What do the doctors think?
I think that's probably a short circuit in the drone that they're using for him to talk with.
What do y'all think, Dr. T, Dr. Mark? What are your thoughts on this?
I think this could be the issue to bring Jason over from the dark side.
What do you mean? His name is Dark Brandon.
Yes, Dark Brandon.
This is just all lip service, isn't it? I mean,
it is.
Heard this before.
Here's the worst part, though, Dr. Marcus. Since we don't have a video, we can't believe that it's actually lip service. We just believe that this is press service. They're just creating this narrative of something that never actually happened.
I just find it hard to believe that nobody had a cell phone in there.
Someone had one. Someone definitely had one. Oh, well, maybe there was actually no one there. I mean, it was a thing for Biden.
Biden got people showing up, man.
Biden does not have people showing up, bro. Those are all people those are all the paid people that are paid to be there. It's not people that are there on their own free will.
At least he pays people.
Exactly, and those people would all have their phones. All those staffers would all have their phones, so there should be some video somewhere of this.
Well, we all know that politics is perception, right?
That's right.
So that's
so is reality. So is reality, Dr. T.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Different. But what we're trying to find out is how far can we push Biden? He's taking a stance that he's pro-cannabis, and he's trying to get elected based on this stance. And what we're doing is we need to push back and say, how pro-cannabis are you really? Are you really making effective changes? I think if we do that before the election, he might push the Department of Justice to deschedule or reschedule. I think that might happen as long as we don't buy these I've already done everything I can for cannabis statements, and we say, well, you need to do more.
Yeah, I think it's just placating. He's not going to do anything. He's just gaslighting
I think he is.
You guys.
I think he is going to do something. Yeah, I agree with Rico. Yeah, I think he will. I think we're going to push back, and I think before November, he's going to do something.
Before November.
before November.
It's gonna be the knockout. It's gonna be the knockout punch, man. It's
Yeah.
gonna be the knockout.
Yeah,
punch.
he's gonna move it to
in.
Schedule 3 and screw everybody over, and everyone's gonna be cheering, thinking that we made progress when really we took 3 steps backwards.
Well, and to be honest, his position has always been quite uninformed.
Mm-hmm.
He's a drug warrior, right?
Yep.
Who's got his hands tarred with being a drug warrior, and going into his first campaign, to tell you how uninformed he is, he supported medical and supported states' rights and everything, but again wants to see this thing rescheduled, and rescheduled is not consistent with where the industry is today, and I just think that rescheduling a medicinal herb that you can grow yourself to Schedule 3 is just a losing position to be in.
It is,
right? The trap is going to win, right, Jason?
The trap is gonna crush. The trap can't wait for Schedule 3. The trap is so cheering for Schedule 3. Yeah,
you're talking about the no labels party. We're talking about the white label party.
Exactly. You're right about that. The white label party.
I mean, could they somehow carve out an exception to the way that Schedule 3?
That would be so difficult for them to do, Dr. Mark, because they would have to reframe the whole framework for how the FDA operates in order to do that.
But the manufacturing and dispensing of Schedule 3 drugs has to happen at FDA registered facilities, none of which would be easily transferred over to the cannabis industry.
There's only maybe like 10 or 20 facilities countrywide, I think, that would be able to easily transition into this phase, only because they were already built out with certain certifications in mind when they were actually constructed.
Manufacturing, you're referring to?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, dispensing is a whole different ballgame, right?
Dispensing is a whole nother ballgame. You're right, but at the same time, like, you have to be able to manufacture a product if you want to be able to dispense it. So you can't, you know what I mean? You got to be able to have that manufacturing in place first.
Right. So as it exists today, say in California, there's manufacturing, there's distribution licenses, and there's dispensing licenses. Isn't that the full chain of production, right? So you go from production.
There's cultivation, there's manufacturing, and then there's distribution.
Right. So does President Biden and the people who hold this idea that, rescheduling the 3 is somehow going to be okay?
I don't think they've thought that far through. I don't think they've thought that far through this whole process.
Yeah, it's like the Farm Bill. They don't think any of this shit through, right?
Yeah, they haven't.
They just look for the political immediate gratification that brings.
Exactly.
And they don't fully think things out. So, yeah, I mean, I guess this doesn't surprise us, does it?
And then it's going to be so hard to get anything fixed after they screw this thing up to Schedule 3, because there's not going to be enough political gumption or political gunpowder enough to really get anything done anymore, because people are going to say, oh, yeah, we dealt with that. It's done. Da-da-da-da-da. It's a mute issue, bro. We keep on moving on. You know what I mean? We have other problems in the world.
The creative minds in this industry will find the loopholes, and now they'll be busy closing other loopholes, right?
The only loopholes they're going to be closing.
Think these things through, they're going to create opportunities to basically skirt the regulation and go around it.
That's what I'm saying.
And like you were talking the other day about native, laws and being sovereign nations. How do they?
They're exempt. They're exempt from this. As long as they're on their tribal land.
So I can go by non-Schedule 3 over at the reservation.
Yep.
Right?
Maybe it's going to be time to partner up with a reservation. Maybe that's the solution around Schedule 3. Partner up with a reservation. I mean, oh man, it's so screwed. People are going to get so screwed and so washed.
If you partner up with a reservation, Jason, go down to North Carolina where you got that application out for for deputy, and might not be the best idea to do. Might not be the best path forward. I don't know.
Oh no. If I was the deputy there, we would work with our native brothers and sisters out there, and we would come up with a tribal pack. We'd come up with a tribal pack.
Changing your tune.
Yeah.
But Rico, like you guys said, as soon as you're off the reservation and you're on Department of Transportation roads, you're fucked, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So unless you live on the reservation, right?
Yeah.
Or unless the reservation laws apply to people who buy on the reservation and then take off.
Yeah, they're trying to shut down North Carolinians, the outside the reservation North Carolinians. They're trying to shut down their access to medical cards that they're given.
Yeah.
The problem is the Controlled Substances Act. It's not cannabis. You're playing a faulty game when you're dealing with the control. I mean, if you have issues with certain substances, it's a public health issue. It's not an enforcement issue. And so you can put everything in under the Department of Justice is a problem. It's a huge problem.
Yep.
When we have politicians echoing what Dr. Talleyrand is saying right here, that's when it's no longer lip service, right?
Exactly.
So this is what needs to be fundamentally addressed, is removing cannabis from the Controlled Dangerous Substance Act. Look, it's not dangerous. It doesn't need to be controlled. Plain and simple, right?
Remove the Controlled Substances Act is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The whole act.
Remove that act altogether.
Remove it. I'm with you. Yeah.
But this goes again to the story that you guys were covering the other day on the DEA. The DEA is not going to defund themselves, right? So they shouldn't have a say in that decision, right? Because they got their hands in the money pot, and they're not going to say, well, you know what, we're going to remove that from the schedule, and we're just going to basically do away with the Controlled Dangerous Substance Act altogether. They won't have jobs, right?
Very true.
They exist because of that act.
Very, very true. And on that, we got to go to a commercial. Were you going to say something, Dr. T?
No, I'm all good.
Okay, all right. We're going to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.